Good evening and welcome to our debut episode of Jackal Garage. We're we're just kind of launching out with this live stream. I'm actually trying to find it on Facebook real fast, as so I can monitor stuff on Facebook. There it is. Okay. So, Jeff,
Yo.
Gaslands. You know nothing about Gaslands. So I am going to teach you about Gaslands. I figured we give it a little bit of time to see if people chime in. Tim joined us. Good evening, Tim.
Tim has popped in.
So I figured I'd give it a little bit of time for people to kind of chime in. So we'll just kind of chit-chat a little bit.
Joe's here.
Oh, hey, Joe. And then we'll get chatting about Gaslands. So this debut episode, is really going to get you up to speed because Tim and Joe both understand Gaslands. But to kind of get you up to speed, and anybody that watches this video, hey Matt, how you doing, buddy? And Matt just joined us, and he just got into Gaslands. Yes,
there's
Cecil's here. So welcome everybody. So we're going to kind of go through how to get into Gaslands, the building blocks of how you go out and pick cars and what you can do with cars. So there's some great free resources, and should be good to go. So looks like we got plenty of people. Why don't we just jump into it?
I'm ready whenever you are.
So first thing I want to talk about is the rule book. So there are two rule books out there. This is the current rule book or the expanded rule book. So this is a hardback rule book. It's got all your information in it that you could possibly want for Gaslands, running scenarios, campaigns, all that usual stuff that you would do. But also in this rule book is how you build your cars. So if you go to page 63, and this is the important part for you, is you need to understand how to build your cars for Gaslands. So I'm going to switch cameras here.
Go right ahead.
And I'm going to go ahead and take full screen.
Go right ahead.
So that way people can see. So on page 63, you get into creating a team. So when we were talking earlier about Gaslands, one of the things you were curious about is what cars do I buy and how do I buy them?
Right.
So in Gaslands, you have a basic vehicle list. This has your buggy, your cars, your performance cars, trucks, heavy trucks, and buses. So this was the initial list of cars. And what this information will tell you is the weight of the vehicle, which the weight of the vehicle comes in handy when you start smashing into each other. How many hull points this vehicle has. So this is your damage listing.
Right.
So this is how much damage you can take. Then you get into your handling. This is a number of dice that you're going to roll for shifting gears and things like that.
Right.
Gives you your max gear. But the two most important things, and this is what comes in when you're out looking for cars and buying cars.
Right.
How many crew members your vehicle can have and how many build slots you can have. Because you can only put so many weapons on your vehicle, and every weapon has a build slot value, and you can't exceed your build slots.
Okay.
So that's important. Also, your crew members. Some vehicles like a heavy truck can have up to 5 weapons, but they only have 4 crews. So it does limit you in how many weapons you can shoot because you have to have crew to shoot the weapons.
Got it.
So does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and then we come over here. This is your basic weapons list. Handgun, machine gun, heavy machine gun, and a minigun. Tells you the range. Again, this is kind of like a X-Wing type game.
Right.
So there's measurement sticks and all those types of things. This tells you what those ranges are for those weapons. Tells you how many attack dice you roll for it. With your crew, some of these are crew fires, like a handgun is fired by the crew. So it's 360 range and everything like that.
Right.
But everything else is kind of mounted to the vehicle. But here it tells you your build slots and your cost. So if you want to put a minigun on a vehicle, it's going to take one of your build slots.
Got it.
So that's kind of how you balance things out. So when you go out looking for vehicles, that's something you want to just kind of have in mind when you're looking at them, because you might want to put on 3 different machine guns, but if it's just a buggy, you can't really do that.
Right.
So this is your basic stuff. And now you get into some more advanced stuff. So now we're going to expand the vehicle list.
Right.
Now we're adding dragsters, bikes, and ice cream trucks, and gyrocopters, and ambulances, monster trucks, all kinds of fun stuff.
Right.
And again, all these vehicles also have special rules. So that's always fun. But we also add in a bunch more weapons.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is where the advanced stuff comes in a lot more handy. So again, you got your build slots, so you got to pay attention to that, because some of these things, like this 125 millimeter cannon, takes 3 build slots. That's really, hey, Lynn, how you doing?
She's loving your mustache.
So this gun, this weapon alone takes up 3 build slots. So you got to put it on a very specific vehicle so that you can have all that. So that's weapons, and then you get into crew weapons and drop weapons, and you can also get into special weapons where you can do vehicle upgrades, where you're adding in roll cages and extra armor and stuff.
Right.
And again, all these things have a cost and they have a build slot, and those are the things you want to be paying attention to. What's cool about these rules, though, is you can go to Gaslands.com and you can go to the download page, and you can download all these charts for free.
Okay. All right.
You're not going to get the special abilities and all the special features that come
the
with
actual
it.
chart.
But you get the charts, so you kind of start getting an idea of how you want to build your cars in the future.
Victor has joined us, by the way.
Oh, hey, Victor. Good to see you, buddy, or good to hear from you. Let's see. So anyways, so this is something that you want to pay attention to, and you can easily just go out, download this stuff for free. Then you want to start thinking about how you want to theme your team. What do you want to do? So I'm going to switch back to the main camera here. I'll share the screen with you, buddy, because I'm liking the look.
All this talk is taking me back to the 80s when I was a motorhead in my 442.
So now you can download that information. You understand a little bit about, okay, if I'm going to use a truck, the truck can only have so many weapons. So you don't, now you can start looking at the vehicle a little bit better. But now you got to start thinking about how you want to theme your team. Are you going to, the thing that's really neat about Gaslands is it's not a real fluffy background. I think they have like 5 or 6 paragraphs that explains the background of Gaslands, which is basically there was Martians. There was a war with Martians on Earth. They inhabited Mars. Earth has become an apocalyptic wasteland, and they televise blood sports, which Gaslands is the name of their most popular television show of cars. It's like a death race type thing, but you got to start thinking how you want to theme your team. Are you going to want to theme it after maybe TV shows or comic books or something? It's kind of up to you. What's really neat, Mars does lie. Yes, that's one of the slogans, Mars lies. What's neat, though, is Gasland, you do you. Whatever you think's cool. Some people will get some of the futuristic cars and do really neat stuff. Other people like the really old 32 Fords and the old pickup trucks, and they want to fix those up. So you kind of go out and you start looking, okay, what do I want?
Right.
And then you find what you want, and then you just move in that direction. And that's what's neat, because you're looking at Hot Wheels, Matchbox. You can look at Johnny Lightens if you want to get in those. Hey, Lenny. There's also all kinds of different die-cast companies out there. Roughly the scale for Hot Wheels and Matchbox is 1/64-ish scale. And unfortunately, some of the scaling for the vehicles is based on the materials that you use to make it. So you may find like a Greyhound bus, but it's only going to be like 3 inches long. It is not in scale with the game. So not everything's 100%. So that's something you get to decide on, though. Right. If you want to use one, feel free. No one's going to say anything.
I like what I'm hearing so far, because it seems that basically the creativity and design is pretty much open-ended and left to basically, as long as you follow the basic guidelines, you're pretty much free to try anything you want to try.
Yep. There's nothing holding you back. And that's what I like about it. Some people, so when you go out looking for cars, so this is how I go shopping for cars. I look at cars. First of all, Hot Wheels are 99 cents. So they're not a huge investment, which might explain why I have about
unless you buy 1,000 of them.
Then it gets a little expensive. But when I go out shopping for cars, I'll look at cars for parts, conversions, or sometimes it might be something I'm just going to use right out of the package and go to town. So I got a small stack of cars here that I kind of want to show you. Things that when you're out looking, these are things that you can look for when you're talking about going out to, because you said you were out at Walmart today.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, I want to look at cars, but you didn't know what to look for.
Yeah, I just kind of want to wait and see what this holds and that kind of thing.
So let me switch again. And we're going to bounce back and forth the cameras, you guys. So just bear with us. I'll take full screen here. All right. So there's a few cars that you can just buy right out of the package and play with. Some of the more popular ones is the Sword Warthog, which is from Halo.
Right.
It already has a gun mounted on it. It's kind of a buggy truck looking thing.
Right.
And this is a car that you can just take right out of the package and play with.
Okay.
Because it already has that post-apocalyptic look to it. Because it's a Warthog. And it's got a weapon mounted to it. So you've kind of got everything you want. All you got to do is decide what you're going to run it as.
Right.
Put this, put your stats down for it and you're good to go.
Wow. Okay.
Another one that's kind of popular is the Justice League Batmobile. So this is based on the newer Batman.
Right.
But you can see that gun mounted to the top of it.
Yeah.
So these are cars that you can just buy and play with, and you don't need to do anything. And whenever we demo Gaslands, these are kind of cars I like to take with me to give away. Because for somebody that's just learning how to get into the game, these are just easy for them to get into the game and not have to worry about doing any of the converting or anything like that. They can just play.
Yeah, and somebody may not have the facilities to actually do a lot of converting, so that's actually makes it nice.
So that's what makes these cars nice. But there's a lot of just cool cars out there. So this is called the Bone Shaker,
right?
And this, let me zoom in because I think I'm getting too much glare off my light. This is a real popular kind of old school rat rod type vehicle.
Right.
The top's off of it, so you can actually see the interior.
Sweet.
Notice how that interior is chrome.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of lame.
Look at me. Oh, sorry.
That needs paint. But yeah,
Right.
This is a real popular car. A lot of people buy this car to build them up. I know Tim actually collects the Bone Shakers. He tries to get one in every color. But it's just a real neat car.
Right.
Then you got Roger Dodger. Now you look at that car, you look at that engine sticking out of it, and you got those pipes sticking out of it.
Right.
This is just a cool hot rod that, it just already kind of fits into the world because of the big engine. And when you see this car, you kind of think Mad Max.
Absolutely.
When he had that big old engine sticking out of it. So
yes, and the blower.
Yes. The paint job's kind of lame. I don't really care too much for that paint job, but that's what we're here. I want to teach people how to take a car like this, strip this car down so they can make it their own.
Right.
Another one of my faves is the Mod Rod. It's just a cool kind of a unique looking hot rod type car.
Right.
I guess we could say that's a rat rod in a roundabout way.
Yeah.
But it's got a cool exposed engine. Again, just a neat car, fun to convert. Then you have this gasser. This is station wagon gasser.
Right.
Pretty neat car. Gassers are always cool, especially if you start thinking post-apocalyptic. So this is just a neat one. It's already got the engine hood or the engine covers gone. So if you want to put a bigger motor in it, you could mount guns coming out of that engine compartment. You could have all kinds of fun with this car.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a neat station wagon. And then you just start getting into some of these, Hot Wheels make all these weird cars and different things. This is like
a little bit of the Mad Max car that the main bad guy rode around in.
Yeah. I think of this as it's called the 2-Jet Z. It kind of looks like, you remember back in the day they used to take airplane, not bombers, the fuel cells that they used to carry on airplanes,
right,
and convert them into cars.
Yep.
this kind of gives me that vibe.
Ooh, yeah.
Just a neat looking car. And again, when you go shopping, you're finding this stuff for 99 cents. It's hard not to just, you just start picking stuff up.
It's easy to buy because it's an impulse buy price.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then you get this guy. This is just, typical 32 Ford. But, when you think Mad Max being the most Fury Road one, they used a lot of older cars in that.
Right.
So you start thinking this, maybe put some big old tires in the back of this thing and just have a good old time. So that's fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then they got other cars. Like this is the Ehrenstein. This is the car I talk a lot about. And I know Matt just fixed one of these up. And we're actually going to go through and build one of these through the first couple episodes of the show. I'm going to show you my kind of design process, what goes through my head when I'm thinking about it. But it is a fun car. Check out this one, then. This is the El Camino.
Ooh.
It's already got that engine in the back.
Yeah.
So this kind of lends itself. Plus, it's already got this cool flame job on it.
Ooh, yeah.
It really lends itself right away to being part of Gaslands. Not a whole lot has to be done to this vehicle if you want to use it for Gaslands. And I actually have one right here that's already done.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So this was a real basic build. I did take it apart, so I'll talk a little bit more about drilling these out. But it is something that if you really want to get into it, you want to drill these out so you can really customize them. But all I did was matte coated the body of this car,
right?
Because this design was actually on the car originally,
right?
So I just put a shot at with matte coat, did some panel liner.
Right.
Painted up the engine, painted up some of the details on this.
Right.
I'm trying to get a good. All I did was drilled and put a tube in the headlight.
Right.
And a tube in the back for machine guns. And that car's done, man. That's all I had to do to it.
Wow. Okay.
It doesn't have to be complicated. You can do these things real easily.
Sweet.
You can come up with some pretty nice looking cars without having to go too crazy with chopping them up and doing things. But chopping them up and doing things to them is most of the fun.
I bet it is.
Here's another bone shaker.
Right.
This one's a little bit different because it already has the top on the hood. If the other one was open, so you can't see the interior. It's just another one of the bone shakers.
Right.
Here's something I recently picked up. This is off of some Fast and the Furious spy racer. I'm assuming it's some sort of cartoon or something on Netflix.
Right.
But they have a line of cars out. And I saw this truck, and I was just like, this just screams Gaslands. Because you got the lights coming out of it. It's already a matte black. Obviously, I'd want to take it apart and do something with the fluorescent green, paint it up, or add some color to it and strip that chrome off. But it's already got good wheels on it. Just needs something in some weapons, and it's good to go.
Yeah, it's good.
So, fun stuff. Some other cars that I get. So a lot of times I'll just buy cars for parts. So like this ice cream truck. I don't really care for it too much, but you see the hood scoops on the top of it?
Yeah.
I cut them off and put them on other engines. So this is a 99-cent parts.
Right.
So look at this. Plus it's got these engines inside. Right. I just don't care for the design of the body, but that's a personal thing.
You've got some larger wheels. We're going to put those on something, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so I'll use this just for parts. But the main thing I buy this for is just those two hood scoops.
Right.
Because I will cut them off and put them on another car. Yeah. So that's the hood scoop right there.
Oh,
all I did with this car was I changed out the wheels. I got these little like older style wheels in the front.
Right.
And the back. All I have on here is a dude with a gun. So that's all it is. The body itself was already designed like this.
Right.
But this was a car I bought used, and I just rusted it up to kind of give it a little bit more personality.
Yeah.
And then I put that hood scoop on it. And that was it, man.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. So it just gives a better look. And again, the parts, where else can you get parts for 99 cents?
Yeah, good point.
You know what I mean?
Until Hot Wheels realizes the popularity of Gaslands and they hike the price.
So sometimes you go out looking and you see cars like this.
Right.
This is I gotta go. I've seen this car dozens of times and I've never liked it. It's a big toilet on the back.
Right.
And somebody had one at the shop. I think it was Little Jeff. And I was toying around with it, and I realized, all the back stuff could just be removed, and I could put a truck bed on it, and I could totally convert this up to make it look like a really cool old truck.
Right.
And that's what I did.
Oh, wow.
So this is that gotta-go truck. All I kept was the cab.
Right.
I changed out the front grille. I added a different front grille, which came off a Willys truck.
Right.
Added the Willys bed to the back of it. You can see the W, so that's a Willys.
Right.
Added a minigun to the top with a dude shooting it out the back with the exhaust.
Yeah.
So you really just, when you see these cars, because Hot Wheels makes some really bizarre looking cars.
They do.
You really need to stop and just look at them to see, okay, could I use it for something else? And that's what the Gotta Go was for me.
Yeah.
And then here's this, they do these tuned cars.
Right.
So can you see this Surf and Turf?
Yeah.
It looks like a cartoon kind of a car.
Right.
But look at that engine.
Yeah.
That engine is awesome. And that's why I buy this. The whole car, I could throw it all away. I could care less about the car. I just want that engine. Right. And that's why I buy these. So when you go out looking for cars, that's kind of the stuff you want to look for.
Okay.
I'm going to switch back here and put you on screen. So shopping for cars, don't let the car itself be a distraction. Kind of look at it as a whole. Like what parts could I use off of that?
Right.
Where else are you going to get parts, conversion parts for anything for 99 cents?
Yeah, no, I agree. Absolutely.
And you can have a lot of fun with them. So once you get your cars, now what are you going to do? Like, all right, now I want to build it into a car. You have a couple options. But before you start thinking, one of the things I always recommend to everybody getting into Gaslands is I feel you need to glue the wheels. So whatever wheels you're going to put on that car, if you're going to keep the original wheels on the car, keep them, but you need to glue them down. And the reason
I was curious about that.
And I think you mentioned that before to me. You're like, what do I do about the wheels?
If it rolls or something. And
that's the big thing. So some people want to put them on bases, which is perfectly acceptable because then it gives a edge to the front of the car.
Right.
When the template touches it, it's perfect. And we don't have you're getting a perfect measurement. But it's important that you glue the wheels down because when you do put your template down, you bump the car, now it's going to roll back. Or if somebody bumps the table, it's meant to move. So it's going to roll. So it's kind of important that you glue the wheels down, and that way the car becomes, once you glue them down, to me, now it's a game piece.
Right. No, I agree.
From being that toy to being a game piece.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and so you have a lot of options. Like you don't necessarily have to drill the cars apart, take them apart, and redo them from the ground up. What is it? As Dave, if it rolls, it's a toy. Glue the wheels, and it's a model now. Yes, that is exactly right. But you can also, hey Lenny, how you doing, buddy? Lenny number 2 has joined us. I come here to chew bubble gum and convert Hot Wheels for Gaslands. I'm all out of bubble. Well, you can always learn about Hot Wheels, Lenny. So one of the first things I would recommend is your first couple cars, keep them simple.
Right.
Get a car, glue the wheels down so it becomes a model, so it's no longer a car. Clear coat or take a matte varnish and matte varnish the whole car because Hot Wheels are pretty much glossy. And if you try to paint over gloss, it's just going to roll.
Right. You do realize I'm going to ignore the entire keep it simple thing. Just
yeah. But there's other people in the room.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They may be interested. Let me show you this car. So this was one of my first cars. I don't know if it was my actual first car, but this is just a simple buggy.
Right.
All I did is I glued the wheels. I shot the whole thing with a matte varnish. That way I could come in here and I could add some paint detail.
Right.
And then I added some weathering, just doing some sponge technique to it.
Right.
And just glued a simple turret to the top.
Wow. Okay.
and the car was done. And this turret just came off of a Flames of War tank.
Yeah. All right.
So it's like just one of the random million things I have laying around my house.
Right.
But it doesn't have to be hard. Yes, I did take it apart simply because I was trying to learn how to take cars apart.
Right.
But I clear coated everything, including the windows. I just painted them black, and boom, I'm done.
Right.
And that's as far as you have to go. Now, I've gone further with cars. You see this bad boy.
Yeah. Okay.
So I added an axle to the bottom of the chassis,
Right.
put on some double wheels, painted the whole thing. I've got an engine in the back of this thing. I have that came from just one of the other cars. So
Right.
I just tore apart a Hot Wheels to get the engine out of it.
Right.
The blades here came from my Orcs for Age of Sigmar.
Right. Okay.
I just put those on. That's my RAM.
Right.
Some screen meshing on the windows. And then I bent up some brass rod and made like little bumpers out of it.
Wow. Okay.
So you can get pretty carried away with these and just have a good time. Or like I showed you earlier, you can keep it simple and just add some tubes and dull coat them up and you're good to go.
Wow. Okay.
Now here's your car.
Woo.
So this is one of those kind of interesting castings. They call them futuristic castings or just alternative castings because that's not a real vehicle.
Right.
But when I saw that, I instantly thought of you because that's totally a Space Wolves vehicle. But what I did is I took advantage of the vehicle itself. So I really didn't add a whole lot to this. Obviously, I put the machine guns up top.
Right.
And I put this on the back. But there was a lot of conversion because there were some other parts on this car
Right.
where I took a jeweler's saw and cut them all down.
Right.
But these tubes back here on the fenders, can you see those?
Yep. Uh-huh.
Those are your rear flamethrowers.
Ooh,
But
flamethrower.
those were already on the vehicle, so I didn't have to do anything.
Oh, there you go. All right.
I just added like gas tanks. So that represents your rear flamethrower.
It's an awesome looking car.
Yeah. And I just kept it kind of simple, and then I just painted it up for you.
That's awesome.
So those are the kind of things you can do. This is probably the most easiest car to convert or to buy. This is the Punisher van.
Right.
And you know how I feel about the Punisher.
Absolutely.
But it already has a rail gun on it, and you can pull out the back piece here, and you got more guns.
Right. Wow. Okay.
So it's just a neat car.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let me get back into the screen here with you. So that gives you the starting off point. Like, all right, so go to the website, and if you don't have the book, you're probably going to get the book eventually.
I need to. I just can't find it anywhere right now.
Well, if you can't get it, I will track one down and
We'll figure it out.
we'll figure it out. But if you go to the website, gaslands.com, you can download the information, which will give you kind of the build information that will get you started
Right.
into the game, because you'll know how many build slots your vehicles have and everything like that. And then you just need to decide, okay, so my theme, what I'm going to go for, I want old rusty cars. I want to go with that old American muscle style cars. So that's what you look for. Or you want off-road vehicles, or you want trucks, or you want to do a cop theme. So you go out looking for cop cars.
Right.
They're the Hot Wheels Matchbox. They have thousands and thousands of different cars, and you just need to decide what you want to theme your army. Now, there are in the rule book more advanced rules that are sponsored teams, and you can get sponsorships, and that's where you might theme your cars to the sponsors themselves, because they got like the Michigan, which are kind of futuristic type guys, and you got the Highway Patrol. You actually got things, but just for regular old cars, OG Gaslands Day. Of course, Matt, we'll have an OG Gaslands Day. That'd be fun, actually. But you just need to theme your thing. That's when you go out. That's what you go looking for.
Any event you and I have our fingers in should be called OG, just because we're both old.
It is the old guys tournament.
It's the old guys.
So we both fit. So So that's what you want to start doing. Now it's like, okay, I got my cars. Do you want to do a simple clear coat them, glue the wheels down, do some paint to them? Feel free.
Right.
Or do you really want to get into it? And that's kind of what I get into. It's I get into it.
I'm already running some ideas through my head just from, because I like the fact it's kind of open ended. Whatever I can think of, as long as it fits within that criteria, we're good.
Yes, as long as it's just like Star Wars X-wing.
Yep.
You can do all the upgrades as long as you don't go beyond the ship's capability. Same thing here. As long as you don't go beyond the capability. So if you really want to tear a car apart, this is where we separate the men from the boys. If you want to tear a car apart, you need to drill out the rivets. So on the bottom of a car, any of these cars, they'll have a number of rivets. Some will have one, some will have two. If you start getting into the semis, you might get 3 or 4 of them, but you need to drill them out. So out of the sake of safety purposes, I'm gonna say, do some research online about drilling out the rivets to the cars, because if you get certain cars like this Bug and you're trying to hold it with the oval top, it's going to be wobbly, and I don't want you to drill your hand out.
Well, I have a table vise.
Okay, so if you have a table vise, clamp the vehicle down, take your drill bit, get a metal drill bit, something designed specifically for drilling them out.
Yeah.
Secure the vehicle, put a little drop of oil, cutting oil if you've got it, just something to save you, and drill out your. I have a drill press.
And
I just drill them right out. But that is what's going to separate your cars. So
no, I have a hobby table vise that's got basically rubber pads on the vise itself, and then I've got a really, really nice Dremel tool.
There you go. So you can do it out if you have no experience with drills and power tools like that. If you live locally, obviously you can just call me up and I'll be more than happy to help you out. But this car, so this is called the Big Air Bel Air.
Right.
This is another one of those cars. If you see it at the stores, you might want to pick it up.
Right.
Because it already has kind of a Gaslands feel.
Yeah.
You got these headlights up here, these KC lights up here. You got a gas can sticking back here. The shocks are sticking out the front. Right. This is one of those, like, I would just drill out these headlights, put in some tubes to represent machine guns.
Right.
And maybe put something in the back for drop, like we're going to go over a weapons pack, but put some maybe napalm bombs or something to drop off the back.
Right.
And this car would be pretty much done. You don't even have to take this one apart if you don't want to.
Right.
Now, I think anyone here watching wants to take this apart and repaint the interior so it looks better.
Right. Absolutely.
But you don't have to, because it already has kind of a cool sports vibe to it.
Right.
But as you can see, I drilled out the 2 rivets.
Right
here, and now the car comes completely apart. And now you got the components of this car. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so we can all see what's going on.
Right.
So here you've got your interior.
Right.
You see that, like you probably never even noticed that spare tire back there.
Yeah, no.
Take it apart.
At all.
So you can just hit this with some paint this up and make it stand out a little bit better. If you want, you can add a driver, and I'm going to talk about adding drivers as we go on with this series of videos. You can do, let's just, like, no one really realizes how much details in these cars. Look at that dashboard.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot there.
Like, you ever think about that in a Hot Wheels?
You look at it, so there's something there, but I never realized just how detailed they were.
Yeah, so you got some pretty good detail, and you can make all that stuff pop. Now, are people going to see it in your car? Probably not, but you and I both kind of, it's not what people can see, it's what we know we did and we liked it.
As long as I know it's there.
Right. Then you got this piece. This is the other interior piece that has the gas can, your bar, you got your shocks that you can paint up, some little details. Here's your chassis. Now, this is, if you take them apart, it makes it real easy to glue the wheels down, because you can just pinch them and just put a little dab of super glue on the edge of the wheels and just hold them down.
Right.
This car actually has some nice wheels on it. A lot of Hot Wheels, like this car, like these wheels are kind of terrible. They're just
Right.
smooth. And I'll do what is called a wheel swap,
Right.
where I buy cars just for the wheels to put on other cars. So, but this one has some really good 5-spoked rims. So you could just paint those up and be done with them. And then you got your body. So you're good to go. That's why taking them apart, it just makes it so much easier, especially if you want to paint up some of these details. And then if you're going to start drilling out the headlights or however you want to add your guns, you can do it when it's all taken apart.
Right.
And when I'm done, so some people in the community, they actually they'll drill these posts out, and they will actually put screws in there, and they'll screw them back together.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm not that guy. I just get a big blob of super glue and go bloop, bloop, and I'm done.
Right.
I don't overcomplicate it. So
yeah, absolutely.
So that's kind of the basics, man. This is so you got your car, you got it drilled out. Now you gotta kind of design what you're gonna do. So from here, what I want to do is move into building a car.
Okay.
So I kind of want to walk everyone through kind of the design process in my mind.
Sure.
And I figured we'd do the Ehrenstein. Because I think the Ehrenstein's a really cool car. I love it. I think it's really neat. But I do think you miss a lot of the details if you just take the car like this and try to put it into Gaslands, because when you take it apart, you're going to see a lot of cool detail that you might not have noticed before.
Right.
Sorry, I had to drink a bit of water. So this car is already drilled out. What I'm thinking for this car is, first of all, I don't like the engine.
Right.
I like how it's exposed, but I don't like the I guess those are 4-barrel carburetors sticking out the front of it. I don't like those. I want to put a hood scoop on it. You remember that ice cream truck I showed you earlier? I want to take one of these hood scoops and put it on the front on the engine here.
Right.
Because I think that's just going to make it look a little bit better. Also, I don't like the sunroof at all.
Right.
So I'm going to cover that up with some plastic card.
Okay.
So we can get rid of that. And then I got to decide what weapon I want to put on it. And what I'm thinking about doing is cutting this type of an intake piece off right here.
Right.
And I'm going to mount a guy inside with a machine gun.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
So after I drill it, so what I want to do though is I got to strip all the paint, strip all the chrome. So after we take it apart,
right.
If you look at the interior of this car, let's let that get focused again. Right. Look at all that cool stuff that you won't really see.
Right.
Because when they chrome them, you lose all that.
Yeah.
So because there's no color, it's just all one big.
It's all saturated one color.
Yeah. So you got this big fan right here. Looks like there's something on the seat. I can't really make it out, but it looks like a rat or a cat.
Right. Okay.
It's one or the other. Can you see that driver's seat?
Yeah.
It's either a rat or a cat. I can't tell. So this needs to be stripped so we can get all that chrome off. And then I want to strip all this paint off because I'm actually going to make these for the shop. Okay. This car for the shop. And I want to have it stripped down because I want to repaint it red.
Okay. For
IOG.
Okay.
So that's what I'm going to do there. Also, when this is together, I hate these are the wheels I don't like. See how they're just smooth?
Right.
They don't look like wheels. So we're gonna salvage off of one of the other vehicles I've got laying around. We're gonna put some better wheels on this.
Okay.
So those are the things we're gonna do. So how do you strip paint and strip chrome off of these vehicles? I need to back out just a little bit more here. So we'll start with stripping paint. I use this citrus strip. This is a gel type paint stripper. And the reason I use this is I actually have it on my desk with me.
Right.
And it doesn't smell. It's not like a turpentine or like a regular, it smells like oranges.
Right.
So it doesn't bother me to have it out on my tape, like when I'm working on my workbench.
Right.
Not an offensive smell that is going to turn people, like it's not going to stink up my whole house. So this is what I use for stripping paint off.
Okay.
And what I do is I just have a small mason jar on my desk.
Okay.
Can you see the bottom, all that speckling of color?
Yeah.
That's from paint that I've stripped off all the cars. And I keep it, I got these little stainless steel tubs.
Right.
I just keep it in there in case anything spills off the side. It doesn't run down and ruin my desk.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yep. Yep.
So last night I put some cars in here. And so what I'll do is I'll just take the lid off. I have a pokey stick. This is I forget what this is used for. It's a mechanic's tool. And I'll just pull the cars out. And then can you just see how the paint's just kind of running off of it?
Yeah.
This car was just soaking for 24 hours.
Okay.
And it's just, now I'll just take an old toothbrush. Don't use your wife's toothbrush. She gets mad. Not that I would know. And I'll just kind of gently start removing the excess. And it's just, the paint's just rolling right off, man.
Right. Right.
And I just want to get as much of the citrus clean off as possible.
Right.
Because I'm cheap and I just want to save as much as possible. Hopefully you can appreciate that.
I can, actually.
So you just knock off as much as you can, and then I just lay it on a paper towel, and then I just clean it up. So we actually have 2 cars in here. Let me fish out the other car. And here's the other car. And this was the mod rod. It's one of the cars that I showed.
Right.
And this stuff is just peeling right off. So these are stripped down to the raw metal right now.
Right.
And there's no paint on them at all. So that's what I like about it. And it's not overly fumey. Like it just smells like oranges in my hobby room right now.
Okay.
So I think that's a great way. So then for the mod rod, we'll just dunk it in there, and then I'll come back tomorrow and I'll pull it out and clean it off.
Cool.
So then you just take an old toothbrush and you just kind of scrape off as much of this as humanly possible. You're going to use some paper towels to get this stuff off. It's kind of gross looking. This is an armored truck that we're going to be doing, because this is one of those cars that's kind of already designed for Gaslands.
Right.
Because it's an armored truck, and it would make a great little like enforcer team type vehicle.
Yep.
So you just pick up your car and just wipe off all the stuff as much as possible. You could probably run these under your kitchen sink. I just, me personally, I wouldn't recommend that.
Okay.
Simply because it is a citrus, it is a paint stripper, and probably not good for your pipes. But if you get a majority of it off, and then what I'll do is I'll neutralize it with water.
Right.
So I'll just spray this with water and get more of it off and neutralize as much of it as possible before I'll even think about taking it to the sink and washing it off.
Right.
And so this is kind of what I do.
Okay.
So it's not hard. It's not complicated. Oops. And then just spray it off with water. And all I'm trying to do is get all the paint, like you can see, it's all kind of gooped up in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just trying to pull it out. That's it. So what I'll end up doing is letting this sit overnight, let everything kind of dry on it, and then tomorrow I'll just rinse it off a little bit more, and then it'll be good to go. And then we'll do the big truck. And I don't know, this stuff doesn't, like, I've never had problems with this, like eating my flesh.
Always important.
Well, some paint strippers are like, they'll eat your flesh away, or they're really
Matt has a question on how you get rid of the old citrus compound.
Well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let it dry, and then I'm gonna spray it down again, and then I'll take it out back to my backyard, and I'll spray it off with the garden.
No, I'm thinking he's talking about the stuff in the jar when that gets all too gunky with other paint.
Well, you naturally remove some, so you're constantly adding more to it.
Right.
I've never changed it out.
Okay. All right. So you've never actually dumped it out of the jar and got rid of it. You just pull the crap out of it, add a little bit more to it, and go from there.
Yeah, I just keep adding to it. So I've never even thought about.
So the only stuff you really remove is what we're seeing on the paper towel that you've just removed, pulling that stuff off. So
Yeah.
as it gets lower on this level, you just pour new in.
Yeah, I just keep adding to the pile.
Ah, okay.
So, but this stuff is all, it's stripped pretty good, man. And now here's something that's fascinating about Hot Wheels is when they paint these things, they really flood them with paint, and you actually lose detail in them. And once you strip them, you'll start seeing detail that you never noticed on the vehicle before.
Yeah, because the paint coat's so thick.
Yeah, because these are just die cast, so they're tumbling in the machine and all that kind of stuff, and it's just they get scratched and stuff, but they flood them with paint, and then you lose detail. So it's kind of neat when you strip them. You actually start finding like little details that you didn't notice. Tim says he had a slight reaction.
Yeah.
So if again, it's a stripper, so it says no harsh fumes. Removes dried latex and oil-based paints. Strips multiple layers. Yeah. So just be careful. I've just been using it and I haven't had any problem with it, but that's just me. And then just clean off your toothbrush. Yeah, and then just throw all this stuff away. So that's how I remove paint. So if you head out I buy this over at Home Depot, and this is a 32 ounce. It's 1 quart,
right?
And it costs like $11, and I still have about half left.
Okay.
So it's not that terribly expensive, and I do strip a lot of cars. So I
that's cool.
I kind of have a lot of them. The other thing you're going to want to pick up, now don't use that stuff on plastic. It will eat plastic, as Tim has pointed out. To remove chrome, I use what's known as Purple Power.
Yeah.
And I've kind of recently turned you on to Purple Power.
Yes.
This is one of many products you can use to remove chrome from the plastic.
And I've learned how to make it into a gel.
Yes, you have, and by accident too. But it's still
total accident. Yeah, absolutely.
But this is kind of some fun stuff, and this will remove the chrome from models. So we're back to. I've got another container, same setup, but this one just has the Purple Power in it.
Right.
I love these little mason jars because my wife has 1,000 of them for some reason.
Yep.
And they work out good for this stuff.
I actually had the same thing, but mine are actually Smucker's jelly jars.
So this was all chrome last night when I put it in. Okay. And now you can see it's all black. So all Purple Power is a heavy detergent.
It's a solvent. Yeah, basically a detergent solvent. Yep, absolutely.
And what will end up happening, it will remove all that chrome. This was from the Mod Rod. And this was more of it was kind of more like the Ehrenstein. It was like kind of a dark silver.
Right.
So and it just removed it all. Now it's down to just the plastic.
Sweet.
And because this is just a detergent, you can just take this over to your sink and rinse it off and be done with it.
Right.
Like there's no special thing. Now it will feel sticky.
Yeah.
Sometimes after you mess with them, and all I can conclude, I don't know for sure, I'm not a chromologist or anything like that, that it's the bonding agent that holds on to chrome.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So what I'll do is I'll just set this aside for 24 hours and let it dry real good.
Right.
And sometimes the stickiness goes away. If not, I just paint over it and I'm done.
There you go.
It doesn't harm the plastic at all.
Right.
So we're just going to dunk the Ehrenstein's chrome in there, and then we'll be done. So tomorrow night I'll come over to my desk, and I'll pull all those pieces out, get them all cleaned up and ready for paint. Hey, David. So that's kind of what I do. And you can, if you want, you can spray this off with water. It's not going to hurt anything if you spray it off with water. And you can see it foaming up a little bit.
Right.
And that's just the detergent. So it will all come off.
Yep, absolutely.
But main thing is I just let it set because it was soaking. There is some sort of bonding agent between the chrome and the plastic. So
right.
And I'm just switching cameras real fast, and so that gets you kind of moving in the right direction. So you've got a vise, a drill vise to hold your model down. You said it was a modeling vise.
Yeah, there's a little tabletop vise. It's actually in a box. I bring it out and I clamp it to my table, and it's about 6 inches, and it opens up about 4 inches. Right. And I use that when I'm working I'll solder a lot of metal miniature I used to anyway. But I can actually clamp things in it, and like I said, I clamp it to my table, and who knows, that may become a permanent addition to this table somewhere.
But just when you go to drill them out, and anybody that goes to drill out a car, just be careful, especially if you're holding it in your hand and you're drilling. The drill bit will walk, it will slip, and your next thing you know, you're going to be putting a drill through your hand, and you're going to hate me forever because I'm telling you to drill your cars out. So just be careful. I would strongly recommend some sort of a vise, or just try to position the car in such a way that you're drilling, and if it slips, it's just going to go into a table or something else. Careful, Mike. Don't grab the wrong job.
The other thing, and also if you're doing drilling, because I will probably, even though I have these on, I'll probably put a pair of goggles on as well.
Oh, definitely wear some eye protection.
Piece that comes out. So that's,
yes.
Use your best judgment.
I wear sunglasses.
Take your safety precautions.
Yeah. So just be careful. And if you live locally and you have a car that you really want, you don't have those types of tools, just hit me up. I'll be more than happy to drill a car out for you. It's 2 minutes of my life. I can handle it.
Yeah, it's not hard.
And if you need some, just let me know, and I'll just drill a bunch out and send them to you.
I can handle it.
Sounds like
I'm checking the time going, man, Walmart's closed, or I'd be going to Walmart.
So I'm just going to go through my list real fast because I had some basic stuff I wanted to go over with you guys. Definitely wanted to talk to you regarding gluing the wheels down. I think that's important because you don't want them bouncing around the table. Drill your cars out. We went over the citrus strip. We went over the purple power, so you can remove the chrome, you can remove the paint. Some people use bleach to remove that chrome. Me personally, that just smells horrific at my hand.
Yeah, that's what I love about purple power, because I can't handle bleach stuff.
Yeah, the purple power smells delicious. So now we want to start talking about adding weapons to a vehicle. As I showed you earlier, one of my favorite types of weapons to add are just plastic tubes. You can go out and you can buy styrene plastic tubing, and all you got to do is drill out a headlight, mount it out the window, and it just kind of looks like a gun barrel. And as long as you just say it's a machine, look at all of that. You got tons of it.
Well, that's what I have in my table, or my toolbox right now. And then I've got this as well.
What is that? Oh, that's a Jack Daniels.
A bottle of Jack Daniels. It was a gift from somebody, but I love this container so much.
Right.
I have
look at all that.
Yeah. So I'm like I said, if Walmart was still open after the show, I'd be like heading to Walmart.
Matt's hit it on the head. The addiction is real, and
it is.
But you don't have to get carried away. You don't, like I said, plastic tubes. You can, if you're wanting to cover up the windows. Is that the Star Wars man?
This is that Star Wars Mandalorian I got for my birthday they always give me little toys. So I'm going,
time to drill it. See, what's cool about that is I don't know what that model's off of. You'll be amazed when you crack that open. You look at the interior.
An old Dodge utility van.
Yeah, but I don't know what they put in the interior.
Yeah, well, yeah, I can't even see it really.
Yeah. And Casey just hit something on the head where I was going to go next. Old sprues. Yeah, if you've got old, it's okay. I knew where you were going.
UES is the appropriate spelling for it, Casey. Just saying.
If you've got like this buggy that I was showing you, that's just a turret off of a Flames of War vehicle. So Flames of War actually is a great source for like machine guns and things like that. So if you have a buddy like me that happens to play Team Yankee and you happen to have just a bunch of bits and pieces laying around like these are, let me switch cameras here real fast, because Flames of War is a good source. And again, we talked about this game being 1/64,
Right.
but the scale varies. But these are just old, these are weapons like that you can just use. It doesn't really show up that well.
I think I used to work for a company that did something with Flames of War.
Yeah, so you know that, you know.
I've got 100 U.S. Sherman weapon sprues in a bag, in a box, in my car.
So you have 50 cals, which would work all, even though it's 15 millimeter.
Right.
A lot of the cars, it looks beautiful.
Yeah, well, it's all about, and also the representation, that kind of a thing.
That's all it is.
I have a literal crap ton of those, as well as I got a care package from a buddy of mine at Warlord, so I've got a bunch of Conflict 47 weapon sprues.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, 28 mil, depending, it does work. So if you're doing, where are we at? See the big gun on the back of this truck? Right. That's from 40K. Yeah, well, I think again, one of the things I'm loving about it is if it looks right, it's okay. Yep. So it doesn't matter what original scale the weapon you're using is. If it looks right on the vehicle for what you're trying to achieve, it's cool, and if it's into the building criteria. Yep. So you can use old weapon sprues from 40K, and I've seen people do this. They'll glue on like guns from 40K. They'll glue on, Flames of War is a really hot one that people like to collect up because the newer sprues give you a lot of extra weapon options that you can just take in their plastic now, so they're the gun barrels don't bend. While you were walking through all that, I had another thought, and I'm not sure. And again, most of my ideas I'm having now aren't really based because I don't know the rules. Sure. And I don't build based on the rules. I build through what I think will look cool. The rule of cool. I did see something at Walmart when I first went over, but I refrained from buying, that I now have this really interesting idea, and it was a tow truck. Yep. And I'm thinking trebuchet. There are rules for that. Oh. So, and again, there's rules. So let me enlighten you, because you are on the right track, because a lot of people do that. And I forget what it was actually called, because there's blunderbusses in this and all kinds of neat stuff. But it's like a wrecking wreck lava. So basically a wreck lava, and you also have a wrecking ball as well. But a wreck lava throws destroyed cars. So wrecked cars, it will actually pick them up and throw them. And then you also have a wrecking ball. So if you wanted to put like a ball at the end of a tow truck, it could just be your wrecking ball. So rules already exist for you, buddy. So I'm in the right lane, so to speak. So once you download that information, right, you'll kind of know where everything's at, and you'll be like, oh, okay. And then you can, until you get your rule book, you can just reach out to me, and I can kind of run you through kind of like the special rules and how things work. What does it count as a mortar? So I think Tim's talking about the wreck lava. Yeah. Mortar. So that's cool stuff. But there's also manufactured stuff. So you can go the easy route, which is you can be as creative as you want, just using any kind of tubing, sticks, right, random stuff you got laying around your house. Some people use the packaging from the Hot Wheel itself, like the clear part of the packaging.
Right.
Just this clear part here, and
Right.
cut it to cover up like windows and things like that. If you're trying to make the windows look solid, you can just use the actual packaging itself. Cardboard works out good for that. If you want to actually have weapons that look like weapons, you can go with the leftover bits and pieces you have from various games that you already play, like 40K, Flames of War, Team Yankee.
Right.
The list goes on and on. I rummaged through all kinds of different, me and my game systems. I've got so many different games that I play. I rummaged through my bits, but I was going through my fantasy stuff, knowing how I can take like the old spears and attach them to the front of the vehicle as ramming rods. So when I ram into something, it's like because you can put in front ram rods and all kinds of cool stuff. So tons of options for you. Check out YouTube. The Craftman, he has a few Gasland videos. Yes, the Craftman, Matt is recommending. There's tons of people on YouTube doing cool builds, but you can also buy stuff. So you're not limited to, if you want to buy stuff that is specific to the scale, which is 1/64th, there are companies and 3D printers out there that make stuff. So let me show you some of the stuff you can buy. And we'll just kind of switch cameras here. I'm going to take full screen on this. So
don't look at me. I'm not doing anything. I'm just here staring, nodding my head a lot.
This is probably the best weapons pack out there. So this comes from North Star Military Figures. Darren carries these in the store. And in here are all the weapons that are basically named in Gaslands for the most part. So you get 2 sprues. And what was Darren selling these for? $16.99. So you get 2 identical sprues. On the sprues, you'll have exhaust pipes, turrets, missile launchers. You'll have like a little satellite dish. You have this. There are some unique weapons in the game, like magnet pulses and sonic booms and things like that. So you got this kind of cool weapon here. Exhaust pipe here. You got some diamond plating, some corrugated steel. You got a couple of the for ramming, you got a couple of the bulldozer blades.
Blades, yeah, okay.
Yeah, you got a harpoon. A harpoon is actually a really cool gun because what it will do is will stick into your opponent, which again, the harpoon, Mad Max Fury Road,
right?
They use the harpoon, and then it actually draws the vehicle closer. So this was what I was going to take to Adepticon this year, because I was entered into a Gaslands competition. And this is Diablo. This is a custom build. And this piece here, this funky thing here, this is a Marvel Universe car. I forget the character name. Was already on the car. I didn't have to do anything. All I really did to this car was added this weapon, and I did some custom body work here to cover up the window.
Oh, wow.
But what I got is a harpoon with a front ram. So this way, when I harpoon someone, I can drag their car towards me, and then I can hit them with my ram. And then I just put a minigun on the back, and that was it. And then I just painted it up. So like I said, look at the cars, and once you have the rules in your mind and you start looking at the cars, you'll have a better understanding of, oh, I can use this for that, and I can just buy this car and do this, and this to it, and I'm good to go.
Right.
But you can get as creative as you want. This was a fun car that, like I said, I was going to compete at the Adepticon, but that got canceled. So maybe next year.
Yeah, it looks awesome, though.
And these guns, believe it or not, came from Adeptus Titanicus. They put out a weapons pack for Adeptus Titanicus.
Right.
That had these guns in it, and I just used those.
Wow.
Weapons come from all over places. But back to this. Implements of Carnage have, first of all, you'll get a motorcycle rider. So you already get a vehicle just buying this pack. Motorcycle rider. You get hood scoops, all kinds of you get a toolbox. So if you just want to have a toolbox as a piece of scenery in your car.
Right.
You got also all kinds of the drop weapons. So you can use this for any type of drop weapons that are in the car, because it's just little canisters you can glue to the back of the car
Right.
And it's a drop weapon. So this is a really easy way to go. The price is right. You got a couple people in it too as well. They can be drivers, or they can be manning a turret on machine gun, one of the dual action machine guns back here, the double machine guns. Oops, sorry, I was off me. You can have them manning those. So, and you get a set of wheels. So if you don't like your slick wheels that come with your car, you can change them out for these wheels.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad investment, and you get just a lot of bits. I'm still on my first pack of these.
Action, if that's actually 2 bikes or 2 halves.
No, 2 halves, but you get 2 screws, so you get 2 bikes in the pack.
2 bikes.
So they're just half, Matt.
Yes.
But you get a lot of stuff, and it's like I said, I'm still working on my first pack of these weapons that for all my car builds, because you just get a lot, and it makes it really easy. You can also go the 3D printed route. So there are all kinds of companies out there doing 3D printing that you can buy them from. I'm not going to recommend anyone particular. You would just have to go online, find one that you like, and do it, because these are just people doing this stuff out of their garage. So I picked these up from Dad's Armies over at the Las Vegas Open.
All right.
So I saw him at a convention, and he's just selling these 3D printed packs that you can buy. And like this one, this has a cool tombstone on the back. So if you remember Death Race with what's his name? Jason Statham. He had that tombstone. So this is actually kind of a copy of that. He's some armor plates and just some bits and pieces. This is kind of, it's hard to show it, but that's like a really cool ram right here.
Yeah.
That's all one big piece, and it's just a really cool ram with spikes on it. So that's a fun one. It's got an engine block. It's got a whole suspension in the back.
Right.
You can see that suspension, so I can add that onto these wheels.
Right.
Those are just some really cool wheels. These are fun. Little spikes for your wheels. Think Grease Lightning. When they took had the race down the and you had those. That's kind of what those are, and some cool exhaust pieces.
Sweet.
Again, this is just a dude doing this out of his garage, but 3D printers are all over the place now. It is the new. It's kind of the new thing. So if you venture out, especially if you go onto the Gaslands forums, in some of the groups, they actually have a bunch of people listed. You can also go to Gaslands.com, and they have something what's known as Friends of Gaslands, and you'll see if somebody's a Friends of Gaslands, this logo will be on them.
Right.
And that means they were approved by Gaslands because they're giving a little bit of the proceeds back to the author of the game, and they've got approval to manufacture Gaslands stuff.
Oh, wow.
So that's kind of what I look for, as long as they say they're approved by Gaslands, because that means they're giving back to the author and just not profiting off of his.
Yeah.
So, and again, this pack was $10, and it was from the same company. This is a weapons pack. And again, it's just full. Look at all those weapons.
Wow.
Just all kinds of cool guns and platforms and different things. Obviously, 3D printing, everything kind of falls off.
Yep.
But here's a big old gun. I can just mount to anything. Big old engine.
Right.
Just neat stuff. And exhaust pipes. I don't know what this is, but it's going to make a cool, it looks like a turbo.
Yeah.
Piece. So, and these are the little gribbly bits that you can add to your car just to make it look a little bit more you. And like we talked about the rule of cool. Like, what do you think is cool, and how do you want your car to look? And that's what's cool about these 3D printers. A lot of the little bits and pieces fell off. They did travel from Vegas, so let me put those back in. Another option: brass etches from Secret Weapon.
Oh yeah.
If this is a more advanced thing, this isn't meant for everybody.
I use photo etch stuff all the time.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
So you know how delicate this stuff can be, and it can
Massively
be
delicate.
frustrating if you don't have the right tools.
Yep.
You need to have really sharp snips and a really sharp razor blade.
I've got 2 photo etch diamond plate sheets that are really kind of cool.
Diamond plate. Oh, you just mean like just a flat diamond plate?
Yeah. They're just basically a small diamond plate, and then I've got one of just grating.
Sweet.
Yeah.
David says he needs to fire up his printer, which tells me David has a 3D printer, which means David can be printing me 3D parts.
And I'm sure there are a lot of FTL files.
Oh, tons of FTL files. So, anyways, brass etching is another option. So Darren brought these in over at IOG.
Right.
A little bit more unique if you're not familiar with working with brass etching, but they do have some cool little nice things to add to a car. So this one, it's got some like door plates and window screens and different things like that, some wheel coverings, some blades, some flat gas tanks. So if you're just you don't want it to have any three-dimensional look to it, but it would just be flat on your car, which is kind of cool. It's got like barbed wire, but man, I can't imagine trying to take that out.
Yeah, you got to cut that all out and then twist it up.
Yeah. This is another one. Again, these are just little detail parts, mainly a lot of wheels and light coverings. I like these. You got your fold marks. This looks like a ram of some sort.
Right.
Again, it's just neat stuff. But the thing with Secret Weapon, and I picked these up, but they are not a friend of Gaslands. They don't have the logo. So, and this was prior to me knowing about that kind of stuff. So, but it's Secret Weapon. It's a good little company. But this stuff is out there. So brass etching is another option to you if you're looking in that direction.
Yep.
Now, people do exist. Look at this. We have miniatures, and we are miniature gamers, and we like miniatures. So Implements of Carnage, North Star Military Figures actually makes people. So if you want to add a dude sitting out the side of your car shooting a gun, they're kind of I'm gonna say they're Fury Road type guys. Remember the ball-headed dudes?
Yeah,
a lot of shaved heads and bandanas and stuff like that. Got him there. Plus, I actually added another guy. Like you can see that dude shooting the gun. He's got a cap on and some goggles, and he's designed to be holding that gun. So you can buy these packs. This one was $10.50, but I think I pulled a lot of the guys out of it.
Right.
But you have drivers. This is the driver's pack, and you got guys shooting guns. So like this is the guy in the back of that truck.
Wow.
So and they're great detail. They're metal. This is the guy that's sitting out of the side of that vehicle, shooting that gun. But you do have to do some chopping and some little bit of massaging to get them to work. Well,
they're designed to be generic, so depending on the car you put in, you may have to do some modifications to get them to fit right.
Right, because the scale, even though they say 1/64 scale, doesn't necessarily mean it's exactly 1/64.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they've done their best. Now these guys are standing, and for some reason I already took them out of the package, but these guys are just like standing up, holding weapons. So you can put these on the side of the road. What a lot of people will do is they'll put them on a war rig.
Right.
So a war rig is a semi.
Right.
And they'll put them on top of war rigs. You could put them in the back of pickup trucks like they're standing around and shooting. You can have a little bit of fun. And then I have the leftover drivers from the one pack that I opened up. So, but you actually have models that are standing, holding shotguns and pistols. This guy looks like he's holding an AK-47. So, and then this guy looks like he's got a blunderbuss because it's just a big tube, which tells me blunderbuss. So those are the options for people. So this gets you kind of down the right path. When it comes to putting weapons on a vehicle, you can go as simple as you want by just adding some tubes and some small details, kind of like what I did here with this El Camino. I didn't do anything creative. Also did the same thing here with this Volkswagen. If you look at those front headlights, it's just 2 tubes sticking out.
Right.
And those to me just represent the machine guns. Or you, like I said, you can go all out. This is off of Implements of Carnage. These are the machine guns. I believe that's a 40K bit. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know where that came from. I just kind of took it. Like this is this Volkswagen bus, the front of it's actually right here with the ram.
Right.
So I actually made it. I took the diamond plating from the Implements of Carnage and covered up the front windshield.
Right.
And to me, this vehicle drives like that because this is the BFG, the big gun.
Yep.
And it's a one-shot weapon. I get to shoot once, but when I shoot, it's 10 D6 shots.
Wow.
But this was just a fun car to paint up and
It
I just wanted to go a little extreme with the weathering, to see how that weathering would look if it, something they found in the desert.
Somehow that might have made it over to your Necrons after you figured it out.
There might have been a little testing of Necron painting in this model, if you can tell. And again, you can use weapon like this. Like I said, this turret here came off a British tank from Flames of War,
right?
And this wasn't a complicated build. This was just basically dull coated, weathered up, and painted. So, and you can have a lot of fun with it. So,
yeah.
Switch cameras back here.
I'm really sorry for the sounds that are probably messing up your speech. The sobbing coming from my wallet might be distracting you. So.
Well, luckily Hot Wheels are only 99 cents.
Yeah, but you know me, I don't do anything small. So
well, I think for you right now the big thing would be because I sent you a care package. So you'll be pleasantly surprised what shows up in the mail tomorrow. But you do need to get the rule book. Or at least if not the rule book, go download the charts,
right?
So that you can then move forward with building. So you kind of have an understanding of, well, I want to build this cool truck up, and it's a truck, so I want to put it under the truck category,
right?
And I'm only allowed to do this. I can only have this many weapon slots because some things, like a lot of the drop weapons, don't take up weapon slots.
Oh, okay.
Some things don't take up weapon slots, but most, like some things might, like a ram and a machine gun, could take up all the weapon slots on the truck,
right?
Like a regular truck. Let me kind of run through my notes. So we got pretty far. I'm not going to get too much into the advanced building stuff because I want to do that as we go. But I think I got where I wanted to get tonight, man. I wanted to give people kind of an idea of what to look for building something. Oh, and Tim added something to your care package as well. But I wanted to get people to a comfortable spot of understanding.
A bucket of water first, then.
What's that?
Should I immerse it in water before I open it? If Tim sent me something, it might pop or explode.
I think you're okay. I think you're okay. It's not going to explode on you.
Yay!
That's a plus. I just want to get people moving in the right direction. So if you're going to get into stripping the cars, you're going to want to use the citrus strip, and you're only going to use the citrus strip on metal. If you use it on plastic, the plastic may not exist when you pull it out.
I'm fairly certain it will not exist at all.
So don't use it on the plastic. Use the citrus strip on just the metal parts, and then get the purple power to strip the chrome off of everything.
Yep.
Looks like David's going to be heading down to Walmart tomorrow.
Yeah. Thankfully, Walmart is right on the way home from Home Depot.
Oh, sweet. Well, there's a possibility that Walmart sells citrus strip.
Yeah.
I just never looked because I just usually go in to buy Hot Wheels and
yeah,
purple.
but usually if I'm going to buy something like that, I'm going to go to Delaware because it's tax-free shopping.
Off and running. I don't have that out here.
Yeah.
As far as weapons goes, obviously I think the Implements of Carnage is probably the best way for everybody to go. And it's through North Star. Darren does carry it at IOG. So it's just a matter right now, inventory issues because it's coming out of the UK.
Yeah.
it's a little bit harder. But then you got 3D printing. Apparently, we're all going to go see David and have David print us up a bunch of stuff.
David wants to see the citrus strip one more time.
Citrus strip. Let me switch cameras because that light's just glaring on it. There you go, David. The only reason I use this stuff is it doesn't have a harsh smell at my desk, unless you don't like the smell of oranges. If you don't like the smell of oranges, don't get it. But it just doesn't smell bad. So it's not like a lot of the paint strippers and the turpentine and all that other crazy stuff. So are you comfortable with where you're at?
Yeah, I've already got. I'm my next step of the process is get the materials that I need and stop by Walmart and get a couple cars and.
All right. I think next week what we're going to do on the show is we're going to now take the Ehrenstein to the next level. So we're going to have it stripped. So I'll do I'm going to start doing all the chopping. I'm going to start customizing it. Can you make a track using 3x3 mats? Yeah, you can make a track using a 3x3 mat. That was funny to me. But yes, you can do a 3x3. It might be a little tight, so I would go with a thinner track, but I think you could do it. I'll ask them to print stuff for you once we move to. All right, perfect. I got a free source of 3D printing. That would be David. But I think what we're going to do next week is we're going to really dive into customizing. We're going to do all the chopping. And what I want to do now in that episode or next week is show you all the different tools that I use to customize my cars, because I do use a few unique tools that, I think people should have in their collection when it comes to chopping up these cars.
That'll be awesome.
But that's about it. Did you have any questions?
No, you covered pretty much everything. There were 3 points in time I had a question, and while I was thinking of it, you brought it up, you answered it. So,
if anybody, if you guys have a question hit me up. This is where we're at. I'd pay for tires. Yeah, Matt, tires are awesome. And again, sourcing tires through other means is always fun. So when you go out looking for cars, I buy certain cars just for the rims and the tires, because I think they look really cool, and I'll just buy the 99-cent cars. But if David gets into printing them, there's some really nice tires out there that on STL files that people have been making, and they're just amazing. So
I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. Well, this was a fun first episode.
I think it went well.
Yeah, well, and then again, this is going to be one of those shows. I'll be working on multiple projects every time we do the show.
Yeah.
Simply because, like the Ehrenstein took me, 2 minutes to dunk it in the thing, and I was done. Like I can't do anything else to it till I strip the paint off it. So, and I'll strip that off tomorrow night and have it all prepped and ready for the next show.
Yeah.
And we'll go through it. Primer. So you're pretty versed at primer, but some others may not be. Get a universal primer that's good for metal, plastic, and wood, because you're going to be using the primer on metal and plastic.
Yep.
So like not all primers, especially for the stuff we use for gaming, is really designed for metal. It's really designed for plastic. So you just want to make sure whatever primer you get has that kind of a quality to it.
Right.
So that's automotive primer seems to be the best, and it's cheap. So that's all I got, man, for right now. I think next week we'll dive in deeper, and we'll talk more about actually customizing the cars. And
we may get a few inquiry texts this week as I maybe begin working on my first car. So,
and anybody that wants to, throw stuff up on our Facebook page, we'll be more than happy to answer questions, because a lot of this is going to be painting. Once we get the customization done, then we just go to painting and weathering and all that fun stuff. But yeah, that's about it. So
it's going to be awesome.
All right. Well, no one's hitting us up with questions, and I can only stall so long. But thank you, everybody, for all the nice, kind words. And we'll be back again next Monday. We're going to dive in deeper to the Ehrenstein, get a project started, get a car started. If you run into stumbling blocks, hit me up. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions on the show. Or if you just want to hit us up on the Facebook page, be more than happy to answer up any of your questions. I've drilled my hand already a few times doing these cars, and that's why I bought a drill press. So, but yeah, I've got, we'll walk through it. So,
well, don't forget to join us Wednesday night.
Yes, Wolf Den Wednesday night.
I don't have a guest scheduled this week, so it's just going to be you and me.
Just you and I.
Just
you and me. I was going to sing you a song, but then my voice. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end the broadcast. And Wednesday night, Wolf Den. And are we going to have a date for the September painting class?
Oh, a week from this coming Thursday. So basically not this week, but next Thursday.
Next Thursday. Oh, beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. It'll be the 17th.
Just the two of us. Lenny was singing the song with me.
Well, I tell you back, Darren will probably be there. Darren usually joins us on Wednesday, but there won't be a fourth person. I
don't know a song involving three people.
No, well, they would be not anything we could sing here.
Get out the candles. All right, everyone. Wednesday night, Wolf Den. Saturday morning, What's New with Mike and Jeff. Hobby Hangouts. This is going to turn into a hobby hangout. I just wanted to take the first couple broadcast and Three's Company. But they did. I just wanted to take the first couple broadcasts so we could go over tools and stuff that people should look at purchasing to help them along. That way they can build cars with us. That'd be awesome. I'm excited. All right. You all have a great night, and I'll see you Wednesday night. I'll be there. All right. You all take care. Bye-bye. Bye.